So picture this. Someone hands you the most powerful, revolutionary new tool you've ever seen. What's your first instinct? It's to start building, right? To just play with it, see what it can do. But any good architect will tell you building without a blueprint, without real intention, well, that's a recipe for disaster. And that is the exact dilemma that AI is putting in front of us right now.
And if you're in organizational development, you feel this on a whole different level. Your craft, your real value, isn't just about what you do, it's about how you are. It's that human-to-human work. You're sensing what's not being said out loud, you're holding the tension in a room, you're navigating all that ambiguity. It is fundamentally human work. So the big question is, where on earth does a non-human, non-feeling tool even begin to fit in? And that right there gets us to the absolute heart of the matter. As Ed Canela points out so well, the real struggle with AI, it isn't about learning some new software. It's not a technical challenge. It's a values challenge. It's forcing us to stop and ask ourselves, what do we really, truly stand for in our profession? Just think about this for a second. When we use an AI to, say, analyze team dynamics or whip up some performance feedback, are we using it to make our own human judgment sharper? Or are we just kind of outsourcing it? Are we handing over the keys to a core part of what we do? And what about our presence? You know, that in-the-room magic. Does having an AI co-pilot whispering suggestions in our ear actually help us connect more deeply with the group? Or does it just become another distraction that pulls us out of that essential human connection where all the real change happens? And finally, this is really a question about leadership. As a field, is OD out in front, shaping how this powerful technology gets used in our organizations? Or are we falling behind? Are we being forced to just react and play catch-up to a conversation that's already moving on without us? And this really gets to the crucial point Ed Canela makes. The surface-level fear, the common one, is, oh, AI is just too complex to learn. But the real fear, the one that's much deeper, it's that this technology threatens to completely redefine our value proposition. It threatens the very core of what makes us valuable as OD professionals. So, okay, that's a pretty profound challenge, right? Where do we even start? Well, the good news is the answer isn't in some complicated tech manual. It's about going back to the blueprint, back to the foundational principles of OD that we already know and trust. The way forward is actually hiding in a principle you live by every single day. Think about it. You would never dream of launching a major intervention without doing a thorough diagnosis first, right? You assess, you listen, you take the time to really understand the system. So why on earth would we treat a tool as powerful as AI any differently? That same disciplined sequence has to apply. Diagnosis before intervention, period. And this brings us to our new goal. The goal isn't to become an AI expert or a coder. The goal is to practice intentional design. This is all about developing our own professional discernment. It's about consciously, strategically deciding where AI can actually help us, and maybe even more importantly, deciding where it must not be used. And all of this builds up to a pretty practical blueprint. The main pillars are super clear. First, we have to make sure AI is here to augment our skills, not replace them. We need to explore how we can use it creatively in L&D. Of course, we have to commit to responsible adoption. And anchoring everything, we need to constantly reflect on our core OD values. Now, it's one thing to know what the blueprint should look like. It's a whole other thing to actually start drawing it up. So how do you take that first intentional step without feeling totally overwhelmed or pressured to become some kind of tech guru overnight? The answer is to find a safe, intentionally exploratory space, a place where you can just experiment without that constant pressure to deliver something perfect right away. A place where you can ask those really tough, uncomfortable questions and reflect on your own personal and organizational boundaries so you can decide for yourself how or maybe even if this tool fits into your practice. You see, this whole thing is about a mindset shift. You are not a passive user of technology. You're the architect. You have the power and, frankly, the responsibility to consciously design how these new tools get woven into the very human systems you work with every day. And this quote from Ed Canela just ties it all together perfectly. Every single person in OD lives by this principle. Awareness always comes before action. The challenge of AI? It's simply our next great opportunity to put that core belief into practice. So when you take this conscious, intentional approach, you get three really critical things.
You get the clarity to design and work with AI responsibly. You get the confidence to actually apply these tools where they can truly help. And you get the insight to make sure you never, ever compromise your professional integrity or that irreplaceable human presence.
So the question really comes back to you. The tools are here, but the blueprint, that's yours to draw. How will you architect the future of your practice? If you're ready to start designing your answer, Ed Canela's Advanced AI webinar for practitioners is that exploratory space to begin. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.